All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. I have Richie joining us today. Rich, how we doing? A holiday weekend?
Holiday weekend. Happy Memorial Day to everybody who, served and fought in our country. I know my grandpa was a war veteran. So, shout out, to my grandpa and my family and all those who fought for us, Um, it's one of those sombering days that we get to reflect on what transpired with those guys going across, going to battle.
Oh yeah, it's been a it's been a weekend of remembrance, and a lot of things that go into it. So we can't forget about those guys that help keep us safe. Appreciate all of them. Want to welcome everybody in. Hopefully everybody had a safe holiday weekend. I know a lot of people out on the boat, the barbecue, all of those fine and fun things. So I guess with that being said, it's been one of those things that we've had to keep it cranked up and got to keep it going. But we're also live on TikTok as well. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over. I know we've been inconsistent with posting, but everybody's got life and things that you got to do and all of that. But as the thumbnail states, who was the best coach of the 2000s, we're going to get into that. And then we're also going to get into the House versus NCAA. This is I don't know how close you've been following it, Rich, but this House versus NCAA thing it's been a roller coaster.
I mean, I haven't heard much of it. If you can elaborate more.
Basically, they're meeting on the college playoff format. They've agreed on 16 teams, but the problem, it should be 8. That's just me being real. I think it should be 8. I think 16 is too many to a certain extent. To me, the SEC holds all the power, in my opinion. I think the Big Ten is a bus rider in this. I don't know where they get off to where, because I think the SEC is going to blow this thing up because they don't like the format. Because if you go back and look through previous years, is the 4th best team in the Big Ten better than the 2nd best team in the ACC or 3rd best team in the ACC?
Not by a long shot, dude.
It's not. I think we're comparing apples to oranges here. I don't know why we just don't put the best teams in.
I agree with that. I think they need to do it 1 through 16 and just seed them accordingly. I don't care if you win your conference, whatever. But you can't be like, well, so and so Colorado, they were 9-3, they should be in. It's like, no, if they're out of the top 16, leave them out.
That's the same argument with the college basketball tournament as well, because if you're not in the top 64 in the RPI, you don't get in. Yeah. Same thing with baseball.
They keep moving the goalposts on shit.
I think the goalpost moving and the pandering is very, very strange to me, because I don't understand how you can say we've got to have these 4 teams from this conference in every single year, whether they're worthy or not worthy. I don't think that that's something that they can do that's sustainable, because you're going to get stuck. There's going to be years that you're probably going to have Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State every single year going forward. Who knows what's going to happen in a couple of days? Michigan's probably going to get whacked on this deal. Don't know 100% for sure, but I think that they're in trouble. But outside of the Big Ten, nationally, do you want to see Minnesota, Rutgers, Wisconsin?
There's going to be some barn burner games. Oh, hey, get out of there.
You got a special guest. So
I got a special guest, yeah.
I just don't.
It's not going to move the needle, Duke. It's not going to draw view. It's not going to. I mean, I'd watch it, but I'm not going to get amped up and be like, oh man, I can't wait for Rutgers to play California in the playoff in the opening round of the playoff. No, it doesn't do it for me. I mean,
I just don't think that we're to the point to where it's going to move the needle enough by way of like I think a more compelling matchup is Ole Miss Penn State. That's more of a matchup.
That's a matchup I would like to see.
You got Ole Miss Penn State. You know, the it's not even a major brand thing. I just don't think like the rest of the teams in the conference, in the Big Ten Conference, move the needle. Does Purdue move the needle for you?
No. When was the last time Purdue was good?
Tiller.
Drew Brees. When Drew Brees was there, when they won the Big Ten and went to the Rose Bowl. That's the most relevant Purdue team I can think of.
I mean, you could make a case for Brom when he took him to the Big Ten championship, but that then again, when that was back with the Legends and Leaders divisions.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I don't think that I just, to me it's baffling. I don't understand it.
And the other thing too. I mean, we all know what it comes down to is dollars and cents.
Right. I get that there's people that want the big TV money, but to me, honestly, I think at some point you're going to have to realize that there's teams out there and there's brands that if you walked into, let's say you went to Dallas, Texas, and you asked them who the starting quarterback is at Wisconsin last year for game 1, nobody could tell you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. It wasn't Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz was down in Florida.
Yeah, it was Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah. So
the fan nationally isn't. I don't think they're tuning in to watch that.
No.
It's just that I think it's in two separate places here. I think, you know, Ole Miss Lane Kiffin moves the needle far more than Luke Fickell, Wisconsin.
And everybody loves Lane.
I like
just Lane.
I like Lane too. I think, you know, it's a Hugh Freeze thing. Hugh Freeze and Auburn, they move the needle.
Yeah.
Look at the facilities. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame moved the needle.
I agree with that.
You know, a lot of one of the bigger things is that you have these brands that move the needle, and I just don't think in college football, you know, with the instantaneous free agency and all this stuff that's going on, you have way too many moving parts to just say, nope, we have to put these 4 in from this conference. And that's like if you had, even in the ACC, I just don't know why we just don't put the best teams in. Rank them, put them in. I would use a mixture of the BCS. And if you don't like what you get from that, you can handpick and finagle it the way you want to, because there's no way that Boise State should have got a bye this year. And me and Carter went round and round about this last year, and in our group chat, you know, that we're in, our private group chat that we're in. How many apologies? I got a lot of thank yous because I said that we had people hitting us up about, yeah, you were right, SMU got outclassed. Appreciate the gifts on TikTok, folks. It just blows me away that we can't see this.
I mean, why do we have to, like we were talking earlier, Duke? Why do we got to reinvent the wheel?
That's my thing. I don't know why we were reinventing the wheel here. And I mean, even the BCS wasn't perfect, but
you're not gonna have a perfect system when it comes to college football. I'm sorry. I mean, look what they've done with college basketball, Duke. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry gets in now, instead of having like the RPI, like you were saying. Best 64 get in.
But the thing of it is that I think they went to the 2 games, the play-in games, because they bring it's a historical thing. They bring the tournament to Dayton, and that's all I think that is. It's pandering.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
like it's like the. Do I think that eventually they're going to move the Big Ten championship? I think they'll look into it, but I think if they do, it would be committing treason almost, because the majority of the conference is on Eastern and Central time. Why do we want to move everything west? Big Ten fans don't want to go west. That's like the SEC folks didn't really freak out when they had everything in Dallas, because it's not really that far.
No.
Opposed to Atlanta. Yeah, I think they need to keep the SEC championship in Atlanta. They need to keep the Big Ten championship in Indy. You guys joined the Big Ten. You got to come this way.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I just think that, you know, you're heading down a slippery slope. As soon as they opened up the floodgates on the playoff, it was like uniformed, and there was no issue with the 4 teams except the Florida State year. And the ACC wanted to come in and raise all types of hell to get. I would have been okay with 8.
I would have been okay with 8 too.
Because you get your
maybe now. What about 10? Number 1, number 2, they get a bye. Everybody else has to play.
Well,
I've been okay with 10.
Well, who gets the bye? That's the thing. Who gets it? Because, you know, Sankey and Tony Batiti are going to be saying, we deserve the bye. We're the bigger conferences. Is that fair? But, I mean, you know, what if Dabo puts it together with Clemson again, and Clemson's the best team, and Ohio State doesn't get a bye? That's something that, you know, I don't think that they're looking at.
You gotta win your games, though.
That's, you know, another point at it, but I don't think that they should be rewarding bad behavior. And I think that the expanded playoff and automatic bids rewards bad behavior.
What's that saying? Everybody gets a trophy?
Yes. Because I knew as soon as it went to 12, the 13th team was going to complain and say
bitch and moan. Yep.
And they move it to 16. The 17th team is going to bitch and complain. I think before it's all said and done, it ends up at 24.
I won't be shocked.
I don't see how it doesn't.
How does the FCC do their playoffs? How many teams do they have in?
The SEC has 16 teams.
The FCC does.
Yeah, like the basketball tournament and the baseball tournament, it was, I think the top 4 seeds got double buys. And then the next tier got a bye, and then all the teams on the first rung had to play, all the lower seeds. Because I think if you finish top 4, you got a double bye. But I don't necessarily think that all the conference champions that got the bye lost. Everybody that got a bye in the playoffs this year lost. Arizona State, Boise, Georgia, and Oregon. All 4 bye teams lost. So what is that? And they got to keep, then somehow they have to keep the conference championships relevant. Do I think that is a terrible idea, keeping the conference championships relevant? I don't, because they want to do this dumb playoff thing to where like 3 plays 4 and 5 plays 6. What is that going to prove? Because what if 5 wins? It's going to leapfrog 3 if they lose and their record's worse. Like, what are we doing here? It doesn't make any sense.
Makes 0 sense. Makes 0 sense at all.
It to me,
there's just too many hands in the fire too.
There's too many chefs in the kitchen here, and I think Sankey's not going to agree to that 4-4 because it pigeonholes his conference from getting more teams in. That's what that does. That's all it does.
I say you go 3-3-3 from the top from the power 4.
I just say we put the best teams in, and then everybody, because nobody's complaining if you go down to brand recognition on putting people in, you think they're going to put Boise State in or Notre Dame?
Huh, you know who they're going to put in, Notre Dame.
I'm just saying. And then the people that want Notre Dame to join a conference, the only thing I'll say is that's why Ohio State's played 22 noon games and Michigan's played 19, more than every other school combined behind them. Every other school behind.
Don't get me started on those new games.
That's all I'm saying. So you can have your $7 billion in your Big Ten. Keep playing at noon. That's all I'm saying. Because eventually, I think, Ohio State, Michigan, these schools need to band together and say, we're not doing it. Because I think the Big Ten eventually ends up NBC, CBS. And Fox will end up with the Big 12, and that's it.
That's it, yeah.
I just don't see.
I mean, dude, I could see. I mean, I really thought with the CBS getting the Big Ten, since the SEC is strictly ESC, ESPN, I thought they'd make a shift to going straight to CBS, playing 3:30 games, 7:00 games. Nope. Boy, was I wrong.
Well, I don't think CBS wants to handle the whole slate. They have too much other programming.
That's true.
And you got to have somebody take some of it. I just don't think that we're at the point. We're not at the breaking point yet. I think I could see CBS, but I don't know if CBS wants to do. I think they just want that 3:30 time slot. That's all they want.
The 3:30 time slot's a great spot too. Better than fucking noon.
I mean, because for me, Western Michigan, Akron, play them at noon.
Yeah, those are scrimmages.
Marshall, noon, great. Put it on Fox, put it on noon. Big noon kickoff, whatever you want to do with it. But no, they want to take the whiteout away. They want to take, I get it, Ohio State, Michigan, play that game at noon, whatever. I think if it's like a 1 versus 2, it should move to 3:30. I mean, it'll be cold by the end of it, but
oh yeah, it'll be dark.
But I think the year that they moved it to 3:30, the game of the century, was the right move. I think that's just where I'm at, and Fox is completely soiling the bed. They say the numbers are better than ever. It's because you have one of the biggest brands in college football just taking a turd sandwich and taking a bite because they have to, because Kevin Warren completely screwed the Big Ten on it.
Yeah.
I just TV comes into play in this, and I'm sure they got them. I'm sure Ohio State looked at the Nielsen ratings, like Ross Bjork and them looked at the Nielsen ratings and said, look at attendance. Look at what they did for all the playoff games. The Tennessee game is your proof of concept.
Proof's in the pudding, right?
Yeah. The Tennessee game is.
I don't know when the last time I've been to a night game at Ohio State. Probably 2019 when they played Michigan State.
And that's
Penn State. Penn State 21.
But I don't know why Fox doesn't want to compete. Where's their competitive edge?
Because they're hung up on that big noon brand, that draw.
I don't think the big noon kickoff moves the needle. I don't even watch. I don't watch. I'm not a pregame show watcher. I'm not. I'll watch. I tune in the last 15 minutes. The only time I'll watch the whole pregame show is when they play in Ireland, like I did last year.
Yeah.
First game of the year. After that, I'll probably tune in at 11 o'clock. I'll watch it from 11 to noon, and then I'll have both TVs watching, 8 games apiece.
I love that multi-view.
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I think Amazon's going to throw their hat in the ring for college football.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. They've got NFL, NBA. What's the third biggest market? college football.
Yep.
I wouldn't be shocked.
So I think at some point we're going to have the how do I want to say this? We're going to have an Amazon takeover because they're going to dip their toe in. They'll probably buy up some type of game at some point. I could see them getting the Friday night games.
And you took that right. I was going to say they might try to snatch some games from Fox.
Oh, because I think that the best way for the Big Ten to get out of their TV deal is have Amazon come in and splinter it. That's what I think their best bet is to do, is have Amazon saying we'll pay you $1 billion for a package of games, but we get to pick the games.
Pick the games and pick the times.
Yep. Because watch, they'll come in and Fox would say absolutely not, but the media rights deal is a huge problem.
And we all know money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah, so we'll switch gears here. We'll get to the topic du jour here. If you're watching on Twitter or TikTok, come on over to the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Everybody watching on TikTok, and join the chat on there. I'm getting ready to hop off of TikTok. Hit the like and subscribe button if you want to come on over and follow the YouTube, which helps us out tremendously. So with that being said, we will hop into the next topic in TikTok. We will check you later. Go ahead, Rich.
So, who is Urban Meyer, the greatest coach of the 2000s?
Yeah, that is the topic du jour that we got rolling here.
I think he's one. I think so. He's an Ohio guy. He rose from the depths in the college ranks, starting out at Ohio State under one of the greatest coaches, Earl Bruce. Went to Notre Dame, BG, I think BG was ranked when he was coaching at Bowling Green. And
I think Bowling Green was ranked as well. I think it comes down to two guys when we talk about the 2000s. I think it's Nick Saban. I think it's Urban Meyer, Nick Saban.
For me, I think it's Urban and Pete Carroll.
I think that the one thing I will say on that trek where I could get it, Pete Carroll didn't have a long enough tenure in college because he was in and he was out at SC.
But boy, were they dominant.
SC was unbelievable, but Pete Carroll, being a Southern California guy, but the one thing I will say that I think separates Pete Carroll and I think that separates Nick Saban is look at their coaching trees. Because they both had Sark, Lane Kiffin, both had Lane Kiffin. So Coach O, a lot of people, have their reservations and they can say whatever they want, but he had the foresight to take Joe Burrow. Yeah. I think the short time that Urban was at Florida, he was dominant. And he's also 7-1 versus Michigan.
7-0.
7-1. He lost when he was at Florida. Remember? Yeah, look it up.
When did they play Florida? Or when did Michigan play Florida?
Capital One Bowl.
What year was that? Look, I cannot remember that shit for some reason.
I'm just telling you, look it up. See, Dave's here knows. Urban did lose. That's why the 7-0 room at Urban's Pint House is a little fraudulent. He's 7-0 at Ohio State.
Oh, that was 2008, 41-35. Why do I not remember that game?
See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Yep. Chad Henne was at QB. Mike Hart.
Yeah.
Arrington. What was his name? Adrian Arrington. Where did he go to NFL? Michigan had 524 yards.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I think where we're at on the trek is that Urban's. Oh yeah, that's right. It was Lloyd Carr's final game. Because Rich Rod
took over the next year and they went to
off it. There's a huge butterfly effect that I'll have to tell you when we get off air, but there's some information that I got about that whole Lloyd Carr retiring in the dominoes that fell. Think about who was where in 2009. Nick Saban was still at the Dolphins at that time. Remember that.
Mm-hmm. He was. Because he was there. His first year was in 2005.
Yeah, because he
coached the Hall of Fame game that year. I remember that.
Yeah, because he was just off the LSU natty, which I talk about it all the time. Saban, Les Miles, Eddie O, all won natties. Now Ohio State's got the Urban. See, Dave's here knows. Could you imagine how things would have changed?
We've been talking about Bama being relevant.
Easy.
Would we?
I don't know, because the thing of it is that I think Rich Rod could have won at Alabama.
What he did with West Virginia, though, Duke. They were number 2, though. I was in college that year, and that year was a pretty good year with college football. I think they were like number 1 or number. They were either number 1 or number 2.
I think they were number 2, and I think they were number 2 at back if he missed that kick in the
backyard brawl.
In the backyard brawl, because it was super cold and Wanstead was getting fired at the end no matter what at Pitt, which I wouldn't have fired Dave Wanstead. I thought he was a Pitt dude. He had the foresight to get Larry Fitzgerald. They had good players at Pitt every year.
Sean McCoy, Revis.
Yeah. So I would have never got rid of Wanstead, but that's just me. They're still going hog wild about this settlement. Breaking news quote from Lane Kiffin on the different CFP models. There's flaws in every system. The system he prefers is the way to figure out the 16 best teams. I don't know. I know we're going back and forth here, but I'm just saying I don't see what is so bad about that. What is so bad about that?
It's not hard. It's not a hard concept to grasp, dude.
And then one of the things that was also tweeted out, one of the congressmen from whatever state it was, I think I retweeted on my Twitter handle, but one of the congressmen said the Big Ten and SEC better be careful for collusion, because that's what they're doing. They're colluding. And I think Sankey got wind of that and said, I'll just blow the whole thing up and we'll just take the 16 best. To hell with your auto bids. The only people that want auto bids are the people that are worried about not getting in, aka the Big 10, Big 12, and the ACC. You ain't hear nothing about Notre Dame.
Nope.
I just think this auto bid system is just
I think it's flawed. It's majorly flawed. I think, I
because
don't like it.
You can't give people, because now it limits your conference. So you're saying you can't get more than 4 in? That's all that tells me. So yeah, I mean, I agree with Dave that I don't think they picked the best 12 this year.
No. I think the other thing too is they didn't want to have a 3-loss team in there.
No, they didn't. Because
you could have had Ole Miss, you could have had Colorado.
Well, they had Clemson was a 3-loss team.
Clemson was?
I believe so, because they lost
to
Georgia.
They
did.
I thought they were 2.
No, they lost to Georgia, they lost to South Carolina, and they lost to Louisville. But they won the ACC, so they had no choice. But the thing I'm saying is that with the auto bids, you open yourself up to the year Kansas won the Big 12. I think they were 8-4 when they beat TCU, and they still put TCU in the playoff. Because didn't TCU lose the Big 12 championship and they put them in anyway?
Was that the year Michigan won?
That's the year the TCU beat Michigan.
TCU beat Michigan, yeah, 22.
And then they just ran into an absolute buzzsaw that was Georgia that year. I remember that. That was boring.
Oh, that was
But
I think I was cleaning while I was watching that game. It was so boring.
But I mean, we'll get back on the urban trek. I'll just read you the Natty winners from 2000 to 2010. Bob Stoops in Oklahoma. You have Miami get 1, Ohio State get 1, LSU, USC, Texas, Florida, LSU, Florida, Alabama, Auburn, Alabama.
Just means different.
Oh, well, hey, all good, Sid. All good, man. We're just trying to navigate this. Is Urban Meyer better than Nick Saban or Pete Carroll? I don't know. I lean Saban, and it's not because I have an Alabama shirt on. I am also, if you send me free stuff or give me free stuff, I'll wear it on the show. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'll wear it too. I like free gear.
So, yeah, free gear is the best gear. But yeah, I look at it and I have to lean Saban just for the simple fact of the coaching tree. Because what Urban Meyer assistant has went out and been super successful other than Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen when he went to Mississippi State, I think he should have stayed at State instead of going to Florida.
Dude, nobody springs to mind him under Urban.
I mean, I solved this puzzle. It's Saban. We landed on the moon. What in the world? I think it's Saban. I think the time that Pete Carroll was at SC in Urban's, if you just compare Urban, I think it's Saban, Urban, and Pete Carroll is right there. I think if Pete Carroll would have had a little bit more time to cook at SC, but everything he was doing at SC is now legal, so what the hell?
Yeah.
So I think at that trek, I throw that in there. But some of the honorable mention guys, I think if you just go the last 20 years, I think it's Saban. And think about it this way. Saban won 7 natties and left for what, 3 years to the NFL? So, what Saban went almost 300 games. He's like 4th all time.
I think he needs to be the commissioner.
He won't. I think that would be a good
Commissioner
idea?
Saban.
Do I think it would be a good idea? Yeah. I mean, it would be just like the one of the first ever commissioners of the NFL was Jim Thorpe.
Indeed.
So
Duke knows his NFL history. All right. Who did Jim Thorpe play for?
It wasn't the Decatur Staleys, was it?
Anybody out there? Sid, Dave? It was a local professional team in Stark County.
Was it the Browns? Were the Browns in Stark County?
No. You're close.
All right, I give up.
The Canton Bulldogs.
Well, Dave's here's got it. He said Bulldogs.
Yep. All right, Dave. All right. I'll give it to Dave. Send Dave a hat.
So, yeah. So I think that where we're at, I think Florida's reign, but the SEC's dominance. I mean, I look at it and, you have Georgia. If you just go from the last 25 years, Georgia's won it twice. Alabama's won it 6 times. LSU
twice.
Ohio. This is the craziest thing. The last time anybody north of the Mason-Dixon line won it was Michigan in 97. And then Nebraska won it in 95.
With Eric Crouch.
Yes. Eddie George won the Heisman that year.
Yep.
But if you go from 2002 outside of USC, they're all Southern teams until 2014.
What does that tell you?
No. 95 wasn't Eric Crouch, it was Tommy Frazier.
Was Eric Crouch 97 when he won the Heisman? I think he was.
2001.
Oh my God, damn it. Christ. Yeah, because he got drafted as a wideout. He didn't make it to the league.
Yeah, because he went to the Rams.
And then he went to go play in NFL Europe with the Hamburg Sea Devils, I think it was.
But yeah, because I'm looking at the past Heisman winners, Palmer from 2002 on, Palmer, Jason White, Liner, Reggie Bush, Troy, Tebow, Sam Bradford, Mark Ingram, Cam Newton, Robert Griffin III, Johnny Football, Jameis, Mariota, Derrick Henry, Lamar, Baker, Kyler, Joe Burrow, Devontae Smith, Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Travis Hunter. That is that. But what is it? Urban's only got 1 Heisman winner.
Correct.
Tebow.
Pete's got 2. Saban has 3.
Pete's got 3.
Oh, Pete's got 3?
Carson, Reggie, Liner.
That's right. Shit.
I think when we're breaking this down, because Saban's got Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, Devontae Smith, Bryce Young. Saban's got 4.
4. 2 tailbacks, a wideout, and a QB.
So, and I think A.J. McCarron had just a shot as anybody to win the Heisman. But they gave.
Then you have Brett Musburger drooling over his girlfriend at the Natty game.
It's now his wife.
Now his wife, yeah.
Yeah, and just real quick, have you watched the Favre thing?
No.
Because you brought up the Musburger thing. So, do you remember? I'm not trying to come across as misogynistic at all on this, but do you remember when I think it was Florida State, Miami, and Musburger? The clip they showed the crowd, and it was a female in a tube top, and it says 500 boys just applied to Florida State after that. When Musburger said that, do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
You'll have to look that clip up. Do you know who was in that clip?
Who?
Jen Sturger. And I think it's ironic that and then she spun it off. I don't know. She spun it off into some other business ventures, worked for the Jets, and it just, you'll have to watch it. I don't want to dive into it. It's kind of weird, and it's a lot of he said, she said. Favre he declined to be interviewed about it. I don't know. But I just thought I didn't realize it at the time that was her.
Wow, I'll have to look into that.
In that clip. So I just think that's very interesting. So we got it. Case closed. Nick Saban, the GOAT of the 2000s. 4 Heisman Trophy winners, 7 natties. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's case closed. Some people would argue if Pete Carroll doesn't go to the NFL, things could be different. I think if SC at the time had NIL and could do all the things that they do now, I don't think he would have ever left SC.
No. And Reggie Bush would have never lost his Heisman, all that. And not to mention, good old Nick is a golden flash.
Oh yeah, Kent State.
Go Flashes.
What do we got going on, and what is going on at Kent State, Rich? I know you're active, keeping up on that.
I heard they're interviewing Coach Klein from SC LSU right now. Mud Dogs.
Yeah, we should. It would be fun to do a live show outside of a Kent State game during a Maction night.
Oh yeah, it would be fun in the middle of November, freezing our tails off on campus. That'd be fun.
Come on, Rich. We all know that is that. But we'll dive into it. I think that the list on this, if this is a list that that the New York Times, I believe, put together. Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Pete Carroll. We're not off that far. Yeah. Then it goes Kirby, Dabo, Bob Stoops, Jim Tressel, Jim Harbaugh, Mac Brown, Chris Peterson, Ryan Day.
Chris Peterson?
Yes, he was the coach at Boise.
Yeah. You're going to put Chris Peterson on that list?
I mean, he won a BCS bowl game as a
on
group
the Statue
of 5.
of Liberty. Yeah. I mean, sure. Ryan Day.
Because everybody above Day except Chris Peterson all has a natty. I say if Ryan Day wins another natty, it slides him right behind Dabo.
I would agree with that.
In which I know people want to fight me on that, but I'm just saying
Dabo did win 2.
He won 2 before NIL. So I think there's something to be said there. Dabo hit on 2 major quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. What were they, 2 top 5 picks?
I think they were in the top 10.
Yeah,
top 10 or top 15.
So I think that, but I'll keep going down the list. Then you have Brian Kelly, Jimbo Fisher, Frank Beamer, Gary Patterson, James Franklin, Les Miles, Mark Richt. Kyle Whittingham, Lincoln Riley, don't know why he's on there. Mark D'Antonio, Kirk Ferentz, Bill Snyder, Chip Kelly, Mike Leach.
Rip Mike Leach.
Yeah, Mike Leach. Dave's here. Harbaugh should be higher. He won at Stanford. Left out. I think what he did at Stanford, winning at Stanford, is tough.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like that they I don't feel like they invest in that program. I mean, look, they completely fired Troy Smith, and I believe his name. I think that was his name. They fired Troy Smith at the right after spring ball, so I don't think they care much. Transitioning into something else here, Mac Brown. Did you see his comments on the Belichick situation?
I heard about that. Who was I listening to? It was either JB or Zach. I listened to that clip. We're lowering the academic standards.
Let the record reflect his name is Troy Taylor from Sacramento Smith. I kept up for some reason. I was looking at the Heisman stuff, but the quote is they committed money to it. They've helped him with academics. They've lowered the standard some. So there's absolutely no reason they shouldn't be successful. AKA Mac Brown has friends that are beat writers, I'm going to assume. The reason why I say that is because one of the guys I know, Neil McCready, pretty much said he's been covering college football for like 25, 30 years, a long time. And he, on their show, said on MPW Digital, he said that whenever you withhold information from the media and then you don't give them anything ever when they've had, certain access, and you completely shut them out, if you have a bad year, they're going to crucify you. So I wouldn't.
Power of the media.
That's one thing. That's one thing that I see that makes it tough.
Do you think even Bill Belichick will even coach week 1? You think he's going to be there?
You got me, Rich?
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know if I froze or you froze.
I think you froze out. You had like a blank stare, like you were staring at some naked chick or whatever. Anyways, do you think Bill Belichick even gets to even coach week 1? With all the hoopla that's going around between him and his little mama he's got going around sniffing around campus.
Well, okay. Here's the thing on that. This is one thing. There's a reason why at June 1st that buyout goes to $1 million, and they're paying him $10 million, which he was making a lot of money, and he's never coached in college. A lot of people say it's the same, but I don't know. I mean, have you seen an NFL coach come to the college ranks and be super successful? Because I can't think of one.
I can't think of one.
Now, I've seen guys try to do the
opposite.
Yeah. Like, I think Matt Rule's a good football coach. I just think he was in a bad situation.
Terrible situation down in Carolina.
I think that the way it's trending, the Belichick thing is I think he's going to get crucified by the media so bad that he'll just quit. That's what I think is going to happen, because when you completely shut him out, you don't give him anything, and then you act like everything is you're running counter espionage.
Top secret D-class, with all the red tape. Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that, and then Mac Brown goes out and says that there's no reason why you shouldn't be successful, and they lowered academic standards, and which didn't North Carolina get busted for phantom classes years ago?
They might have. I don't know.
I believe that's a fact as well. So they had classes that they were making up. So, but we'll transition into the top 10 games as of on 3 put out. Yeah, Sid's right. Academic fraud. Um, so these are the top games, top non-conference games. Ohio State, Texas, obviously going to be number 1. South Carolina, Clemson is on this list at number 2. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it's a rivalry week, so they play that game every year. So there's a couple on here that I find very interesting. LSU, Clemson. That's one thing that I've noticed. Clemson is not scared to schedule. They are not scared to schedule.
That'd be interesting. I'll watch that game because I want to see how Brian Kelly does against Clemson.
That'll be the night game.
Yeah, that'll be the 7:30, 8 o'clock game. What week is that?
It's the same week as Ohio State, Texas.
Oh, week one. Week 1.
Yeah, the 30th.
Come on. We're almost there. We're 3 months away.
We're under 100 days, but who's counting?
Thank God for the UFL.
I don't even know how to take that seriously, Rich.
Giddy up, baby. Stallions. Hey, Skip Holtz. Hey, they're playing the conference title game against Michigan.
Who are they dueling against? Shane Falco?
No, they're playing against Willie Beeman.
Right. I can't think of what is the name of Al Pacino's character in that movie. Any given
Tony
Sunday.
D'Amato. Tony
Yes.
D'Amato. Tony D'Amato.
Oh yeah, Dave makes a good point. Yeah, I think the North Carolina thing I don't see how that works. I don't see how this is just the last thing, and then I'll move on and we'll get through this list and we'll close out the show. I don't see how the North Carolina thing doesn't end bad for everybody involved. Because I think
it stinks.
I think that's why all the NFL teams passed. Because they try to spin it off that Bob Kraft called Arthur Blank and said, "Hey, you might not want to hire him." Maybe he did that, maybe he didn't, and it's never been confirmed. But also, I think that, going into it, I think NFL security knew about this situation. But, as Pablo Torre reported, there's 31 minutes of her interrupting that CBS interview that they haven't released yet. So I don't know where it shakes out, but I think it ends in a lawsuit for somebody.
Not gonna get pretty.
But also, then also on the NFL side of things, Jim Irsay passes away, 65 years old. R.I.P.
Yeah. Pat, did you see McAfee's tribute to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect with, Irsay's demons and everything, but from what Pat heard, what McAfee was saying, oh my God, like
it's,
what we got, it's terrible what happened. But from what McAfee, I'm like, I didn't know any of that stuff about Irsay.
Oh yeah. Irsay was a good dude. The thing of it is that
he did always, when Hall of Fame time came, McAfee was always right. The guys that were inducted always had Jim Irsay introduce them. And
the thing with Irsay is that he loved the Colts and he loved the fans because like he would do like you have a lot of access at Indy more than other teams. Like at Indy, you don't have to pay to get in. You don't have to do a lot of things in Indianapolis. Like the Steelers, even though I love the Steelers, but at training camp, it's like $45 every day. And it's packed.
That's ridiculous.
unless something changed, I don't think Irsay charges for training camp. But we'll get on this. We'll get on this and get everybody out of here. It is 8:30. I believe the Pacers are about to start. I know they downed the Cavs, so I mean, it is what it is. The top team has prevailed, but that's why they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Rich, it's all right.
You know what, Duke? Eat a bag of dicks.
Notre Dame, Miami is going to play Sunday night. Week one.
Go Irish.
Then you have number 5 on this list, Michigan, Oklahoma. Don't know what that's going to look like. And it is at Boomer Soonerville.
Boomer Sooner, yeah.
And then you have Alabama, Florida State, Texas A&M at Notre Dame, and Alabama is at the Doak Campbell. And then Florida comes to Miami, USC at Notre Dame, probably going to be seeing that for the last time. And then for some reason, Illinois is at Duke.
The Burt Bielmas going to Raleigh, Durham.
Do you have it? We'll get on this real quick. 3 bold ideas that CBS, NFL, and CBS proposed. It says form an official flag football minor league. Think of it as a spring league with a lesser physical toll. Teams outfitted by a select number of NFL players. I don't like that at all.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's a dud.
Why don't we just call it Sarcastaball while we're at it?
And then number 2, institute a penalty shot. If a team commits at least unsportsmanlike penalties, the opposing team is granted a 55-yard field goal for an additional 2 points. Don't like that either.
That's the dumbest shit ever.
And then start a second half running clock. If a team holds a lead of at least 35 points in the third quarter or beyond, the clock won't stop except for timeouts or injuries.
That's high school rules in the state of Ohio. If a high school team's up 35 points, it's a running clock. What are we doing? These are professional athletes. They're not high school kids.
That's
the dumbest shit I have ever heard. I'm sorry. It's that pisses me off to no end, dude. That really does. We're gonna have a running clock for grown men, professional. Give me a break. Give me a break. Execute better. Then once you get your ass kicked.
I think you're getting paid, so that's just me. But
yeah, you're getting paid. These high school kids ain't getting paid. They're just going out there for the memories. But yeah, that's the other thing that pisses me off too of Friday night of high school football in Ohio. This running clock shit. We blew teams out like 42. We never had a running clock. Let the kids play. Let them play.
Turn your attention.
That pissed me off. Sorry, Duke. That fired me up.
Here's the last time each NFL team won a divisional title. Outside of the 8 that won it this year, Baltimore, Buffalo, Detroit, Houston, Kansas City, LA, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. Then it slides to the next rung of 8. It's been 5 years for the Commanders, 4 years for Green Bay, 4 years for Tennessee. Cincinnati was 2022, Jacksonville 2022, Minnesota 2022, Dallas 2023, San Fran 2023. This is when it starts to get interesting. The last time the Carolina Panthers won their division.
2016 year when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yes, 2015, Denver 2015, Atlanta 2016, 2018 for the Bears. I believe that was Cody Parkley doink.
Oof.
New England 2019, the Saints 2020, Steelers and Seahawks all 2020. So 5 years for those collective teams. And here comes the big one. 2015 for the Arizona Cardinals was the last time they won the division.
2015. Who was quarterback? Was that Palmer?
Yes, I believe it was Palmer. And the Pacers have a 6-point lead on the Knicks. So then we'll slide down it a little bit. Pause. This ain't no Diddy. The Indianapolis Colts, speaking of Mr. Irsay, 2014 was the last time they won a division title. Then it goes to the New York Giants, 2011.
Good. Fuck the Giants.
Been a while for the Giants. 2009. So the Chargers haven't won the division ever since they were in San Diego. 2009 since the Chargers won the West. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
Miami, 2008. The Jets at 2002.
Chad Pennington.
Yeah. And the Raiders in 2002. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was Rich Gannon.
Rich the Gannon Cannon.
Leads us to the last team.
Cleveland Clowns.
What year was the last time Cleveland, it was the Central?
1989 was the last time they won the Central.
Yep, 1989 was the last time the Browns won the division. And then one last final thing before I found this stat very interesting. Teams that own Ohio State. Florida State is 3-0. Georgia is 2-0. Florida is 2-0. South Carolina is 2-0.
Outback Bowl, back-to-back years.
Michigan is 62-51 versus Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson 4-1. Alabama 4-1. And I believe teams with one win apiece is Air Force Academy.
Vatek.
Vatek isn't an honorable mention. I think they just have one or two wins. But Auburn, Princeton, and a sneaky team that is 2-0, the Cornell Bears.
The Cornell Bears
are 2-0.
The alma mater of Andy Bernard.
So, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. The one thing that Mr. Irsay did have that was insane is his memorabilia collection.
What I heard from Pat, he had all this crazy memorabilia stuff. Shit, if I had that money, I'd be buying some stuff too.
Yeah, the one crazy thing is about the Underwood stuff is that he's on the cover of the game and hasn't played a down of college football.
Yeah.
We will see how that
July 10th, baby. Can't come soon enough.
We will see how that pans out, but we are over the hour. We appreciate everybody that tuned in and hung out with us tonight. From me and to Rich, hope everybody has a great night. Let's go Pacers. Me and Carter should be back if everything works out well. Me and Carter should be back tomorrow night. It's been like a month since me and him did a podcast together, but life happens. So with that being said, Rich, you have anything else?
No, I don't. We're just one day closer to football season, ladies and germs.
Gotcha. With that being said, everybody, if you like college football, hit that like and subscribe button. And in the comments, leave a comment, Saban or Urban. We'll see what the comments come out to be. So with that being said, everybody, have a good night.
Have a great night, everybody.